One. Ladies and gents, we are back. It is my favorite day of the week. SHIT, so happy it's Thursday. And we're going to get this show on the road. Let's do this.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, we ready to have some fun.
Hell yeah, we are. All right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review, and help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in the podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz/podcast guest. Schedule your time slot. And don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so excited and so honored to bring another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Our guest today is an outsourcing pro. He has become an expert in helping business owners scale with vetted, high-quality remote workers. After running his own e-commerce business to well over $5 million in annual revenue, our guest was neck deep in the day-to-day minutia of running his business, working 14-hour days, managing multiple teams and projects, and spending way too much time working in his business rather than on his business. Fortune smiled on our guest when he met the woman who would become his chief of staff, and with her help, reduced the time he spent in his business by 80%. Now he wants to do the same for business owners around the world. So if you don't want to spend $150 per hour, which is your time, on a $15 an hour problem, you will want to tune in today. Joining us on this episode is the founder of Extend Your Team. Welcome to the show, Matthew Yahes.
Matt, welcome to the program, my friend.
Thanks, guys. How you doing today?
Doing amazing, dude. All right. So, I told you I was going to ask you this before the show. I'm going to ask you this right away. What are you doing freezing your ass off in Tahoe? You could have been in a beautiful place like sunny San Diego, my friend.
Oh, man. Yeah, but you don't have a mountain, right? We got mountains here. I could go snowboarding. I went snowboarding yesterday. Went snowboarding the day before. Can't do that in San Diego. Actually, you can kiteboard. Surf.
Oh, You're absolutely right. We do got the water. It is cold water right now, though, but we do have the water. Look, you got some amazing stuff to do, and here's the bottom line: is you have the time to do it. Right? There's a lot of people out there who run businesses, get swamped in their day to day. Me being one of them, James being another one. How did you find the time to make yourself available to go snowboarding or enjoy the snow?
I just replaced myself. So, I mean, here's the deal. Like you said in the intro, I actually have an e-commerce business that was making millions of dollars a year. But honestly, I was sucking up all my time and it sucked. And so my wife and I were going to China, and I already had been outsourcing, but I never went someone high level. And she said to me, I don't want you to work in China, which really wasn't a request. It was not a request, but it was a command. And so she said, go hire someone in the Philippines to run your business. I said, honey, you can't do that. Like, it's just not that kind of talent pool. And she said, go figure it out. As a country of 100 million people, obviously there are people there. And she was right. I spent like 2 months finding my first person, and I hired someone who ran a 100-person company. Like, she was chief of staff for a 100-person company to help me with my e-commerce business. And she just kicked ass and just got me out of the business within 45 days. And now that business, 3 hours a week I work on, and she helped me launch now my virtual assistant business, which now we scaled to 50 people during the pandemic. So I think we'll be like 48 right now and like 50 in the next few days. So yeah, it's going fast, but it's fun. And that's how I do it. I just hire better people. That's it. And you can afford them. So that's what's great about it.
Look, prior to COVID happening, we were all kind of very traditional with our businesses, right? To get somebody on board, we put in an ad, whether it used to be in the newspaper. Now we put in an ad online, right? Somebody comes in, they interview, they bring you a resume, you decide whether they're good fit or not, and then you place them on staff. They get a cubicle in your office or whatever the case may be, and boom, you're off and running. You have an employee. That was expensive. Then the whole internet thing kind of opened up the doorway to have these virtual assistants. But when COVID happened, it's kind of really, really opened up the floodgates to realize that you could go on Upwork, you can go on Fiverr, you can find real good talent all around the world. How's that helped grow your business?
Oh, it's incredible. I think it's also timing, right? So like I launched the business when everyone is virtual, and I have clients that I have a Midwestern manufacturer that has 3 people, right? He's like, wait a second, I can get better talent at, 30% of the cost. They show up, they're actually happy, they're appreciative, and they come to work ready to kick ass. And I think a lot of people are thinking that way. Right. And COVID has just freed the people's minds and opened them to realize there is no difference if you're Manhattan or Manila. Right. Upwork, Fiverr, amazing resources. Right. And there's so many others. And like you said, like, the hardest thing is to realize we're not special. Right. And there are people like us who are super talented all over the world. And you just have to tap into that. And on top of it, what's been really fun is I can, a lot of people that are listening to this may be at various stages of their business. If I can run a multi-million-dollar business and start another 50-person business from the bunk bedroom in my house, anyone can do it, right? Everything's virtual. It doesn't matter. There's nothing holding people back anymore. And I think COVID's really just expanded people's minds.
Well, you've done something a little unique though here, where you've vetted people. Your wife literally gave you the command, "Hey, figure this out and solve the problem." Right? So you vetted it. When someone like me is thinking of getting a VA, like literally, I was looking through Upwork just before we got on the call here for a project that I'm working on, and I'm looking through it, and I can't help but to look. I'm like, what country is that coming from? I don't know. I'm so scared of picking somebody that A, doesn't speak English very well, B, I don't know what the result is going to be like, and there's no real accountability for me to be, I have all these things in my head that stop me from hiring somebody that I don't know that's outside of this country. Help me get past that. What kind of vetting process do you have to help, calm my nerves in that sense?
Yeah, so for us, right, so you obviously could do it on your own, right? You don't need someone like me. But the time to figuring it out is good. You're going to, look, if it's going to take at least 10 to 15 months, and you're going to go through 12 people. It's just the way it is. Maybe
you
even
can't handle the truth.
Yeah. So, you got to realize if you want to do it your own, that's going to be your experience, and you just have to accept it. Now, what we do that's different is that I have a team in the Philippines. They can vet Filipinos in the way of and just look for things that you and I, as Americans, can't, right? They know what to look for. They know culturally what to look for. They can see who is going to actually be good or not based on intangible things we won't. Then we have it goes through 3 interviews before a client. So it's the recruiter, it's my chief of staff, and then me. And then to a client, right? So at each step, we're looking for different things. And we also have a vast amount of experience outsourcing. So that helps us understand what's going to be successful. And then we also sit in the middle to make sure that the client is successful, because a lot of people are like you, they've never done it. For us, we're only doing full-time employees because it's just easier, and we find that it is more successful. But you can do less, you can do part-time as well on your own or through other agencies.
All right, let's walk through this. So we've been doing the podcast, James and I, for almost going on 3 years, and we're to the point now where the setup of every episode, some of the email automation, some of that stuff, we really do need to get to the point where we're handing it off to a VA. I wouldn't know where to start. We do use VAs for our insurance agency, but for the podcast space, where do I go? If I go to someone like you looking for a VA, are you guys industry specific, or are you kind of vetting out people based on what the client needs?
It's based on what the client needs. Think about it like this. What we do is we do a search. If we don't have in the database a search like $150,000 hire, we do the exact same thing. right? So we understand your needs. We're creating a job description. We're working with you. I have a call, right, to figure out what exactly do you need. In my opinion, it's really easy to figure this out. You divide your day into two things. I do strategic tasks, tactical tasks. So thinking and doing, right? And if you're actually, spending all your time doing all those tasks, 100% should be outsourced to a VA. Otherwise, what you're telling me is that you're valuing your time at 16 to 18 an hour, right? If that's what your time's worth, that's okay. But the truth is your time's worth more than that. And so you're just valuing your time. And these are people who can think, you may be 14, but it's really generally 16 to 18 for someone high quality that really could just take something and run with it. And you're just not going to have to think about it anymore. And then, you're going to have this. So in your example, right, you have a podcast, you're interviewing me, everything before and after, that's it. They do. You don't do anything. You just talk.
And that's exactly what I'm looking for, right? Somebody,
Yeah.
And now my thought process is always, well, there's a complex little bit of skills here, right? There's the easy part is the emailing and the contact stuff. But what about, I need a little help with content creation. I got my 30-minute video clip here that we're doing our interview. What if I need somebody to, maybe break some of it up, maybe post stuff to my social media stuff? Are all these tasks something that we can vet somebody out for, or is it like one type of service, one type of person?
No, you can actually find someone to do it all. So look, if you're saying I need someone who could be an engineering manager and someone who could do marketing, okay, those are two people, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, in the United States, that's two people. That's going to be two people anywhere. But if you're saying I need a general assistant to help me break up a podcast, to then put that in some email automation program, to post it, to do all those types of related tasks, no problem. One person, they'll manage your calendar, they'll protect your day, they'll reach out to guests, they'll coordinate all that for you, no problem. You can have someone who acts, let's just say for your insurance agency, let's use this as an example, who is like your chief of staff, actually make sure you wake up in the morning with, here you go. Here's a list of everything going on in this business. And by the way, the podcast business as well. And here's all the things you need to know. Here's all the things I need you to do right now. Give me an answer and then go about your day and whatever you want. You can get as crazy. So we placed someone, I think he was 26 an hour, right? He ran a 2,000 person division and he's helping run a small business. So this is the range of talent, and all you're doing. And the reason we can find these people, by the way, is because we offer benefits and do a lot of other things that other agencies don't. But think about the skills that you can bring to your business, and if you're able to tap that talent pool, right? All you're doing is playing arbitrage on pay scale, right? Look, it's cheaper to live in the Philippines, right? It's no different than it's less expensive to live in Middle America than it is in California. Right? It's just how it is, right? So pay there is less, right? So now take that income, the disparity to a more extreme example. Manila is way cheaper than the United States. So, incomes, everything's to scale, right? So incomes are cheaper, housing's cheaper, food is cheaper. And so you can get incredible operations talent.
That is okay. So the cost is amazing already, first and foremost, because paying here in the US on top of, when you're talking about $15 an hour, it's not actually $15 an hour. It's $15 an hour plus, Social Security, Medicare.
Price is wrong, bitch.
Exactly, right? That's exactly my point. But when you're hiring a VA, what that dollar an hour is that dollar an hour, right?
Yes, that's it, right? There's no hidden costs, no hidden fees. It really doesn't matter. Right. And so, in the US, you had it it's actually a 30% increase on the cost of the employee. Now, and also don't forget, who are you hiring for 15 to 20 bucks an hour? Right. There's also the skill level that may not be what you need. A virtual assistant in the United States, like a really good one, is 28 to 35 an hour. Right. So that's equivalent to $60,000 to $80,000 a year, 75. So, think about that for a second, right? So plus your, plus, they don't work for you full time. They're balancing all sorts of things. It's really, the value is just incredible.
So, are there any minimums that we need to look at? Like, we currently run a team. Oh, by the way, hey, what's up, Elliot? He's over there in the UK. Love it, love it. Thank you very much. There's always some sort of standard. Like, we use a VA for the insurance specifically in that niche, and they have like a minimum amount of hours or a minimum amount of employees that we bring on. What type of minimums are we looking for? Or are we looking at when we work with someone like your company?
Okay, so for us, and this is straight up born out of experience, 40 hours a week. Okay, when I first started the business, I was doing part-time, but here's what happens. Let's just say it's 4 hours a day. You're half time, right? Now think about this. Well, what are they doing? What do you look for? Full-time work. So they'll get a full-time job and a half-time job, and what's going to suffer? The half-time job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time in my own business, time and time again. This is the only reason we hire full-time. It's not to say you can't go to an agency that's going to tell you that no problem, 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week or 20 hours a month or 80 hours a month or whatever. But be aware that person is piecemealing jobs. So they're not dedicated to you, which means you don't control their time and they're distracted. Like, okay, well, if you have to prioritize, let's say your 8-hour day job, which makes you your money, or your 4-hour day job, what are you prioritizing? I know what I would do.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
you can do it all, whatever you want. But the truth is, in my opinion, you should always hire full-time if you can afford it. Even if it's 30 hours a week, you only have 30 hours a week of work or 25, guess what? You'll figure out how to fill that up and you're going to get 40 hours of value, truthfully.
How are we tracking the hour requirement? So let's say, I have a task list and something that might take me, 3 hours to do in a day because I'm super efficient with it. I've been doing it for some time. Might take somebody else, 4 or 5 hours to do for that same amount of work. How are we tracking that so we can make sure that we do kind of meet that 40-hour quota? We're not applying too much pressure, or worse, we're paying for something that we're not using.
Sure. So 2 ways. One is we put time tracking software on all the team's computers. So it's very normal in the Philippines, right? Or actually I should say in the United States, it's, wow, wait a second, that's creepy. Can you imagine actually having, and this software screenshots, right? But what it also allows you to do is apply time to things like Asana, which are Trello, or Monday, which are task management software. So you could say, start the clock for the podcast outreach, right? And that gets time clocked. And so what you can do then is say, wait a second. Oh, by the way, Maria, why are you spending 55 hours on a task that should take you 2? Right? Let's go look into this. And so we can help our clients work through that and figure it out. But we're sitting there we're actually watching. So, every payroll period, which is every 2.5 weeks or every 2 weeks, we're watching what people are, actually working, like how much they're working versus how much they should be working to make sure it's relatively the same.
So when we're vetting out the VAs that we're looking for, like let's say we decide, okay, this is a great opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of this process. As the client, how do we know or pick from a potential pool of candidates?
So what happens is, and this is, it'll be 50 people, so it's bearing out, is that it's really honestly the first person or the second person. You interview them, but realize by the time they've gotten to you, they've had 3 interviews. And so you may not maybe it's not the right person. We don't force anyone down your throat, right? But if it is the right person, you're like, great, I'll just try them out and let it rip. If there's something you don't like or you want to see someone else, no problem. We'll just give you another candidate. But honestly, there was 1 person out of 50 that has gone past the second round, and that's only because he was looking for a development manager who ran customer service as well, which was just a very difficult hire, but we found the person.
Yeah, that's in my mind, I'm always wondering about that, right? Like I want you to be really good at this thing, but can you also do this other thing, right? I mean, that's kind of like what our spouses think of us, or we think of our spouses all the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can be a good wife, but can you also be a good mother at the same time, please?
I'm your huckleberry.
It's at least you're helping me alleviate some of that stress and being able to pick some of the people that are out there. How much time did you end up spending when you went out to kind of set this whole thing up? So the wife said, all right, crack the whip, go figure this out. How much time did it take you to kind of go out there and figure it out? And did you enjoy your time there?
No, I did not enjoy my time. I mean, do you like looking through hundreds and hundreds of resumes and
No,
interviewing?
hell no.
Yeah, right. So to find the high level person, it took me 2 months. Now, mind you, I also had 3.5 years of experience outsourcing. Right. So it's really not 2 months. It's 2 months on this one hire. So, but here's the truth. I got lucky. It is extremely difficult to find someone of that caliber on the typical platforms that you and I would use, or as Americans, right? It's just very, very difficult. So I just got lucky. I mean, it was 2 months, but I also had skill to actually vet, and sift through everything. And then after that, once I hired someone in the Philippines to actually hire for me, things just started going so much better.
So I just finished binge watching Undercover Billionaire. I don't know if you've seen it on Discovery.
Yeah.
It's awesome show, right?
Yeah.
With Glenn Stearns. And he really emphasizes the power of using a team around you. Really got me thinking about, if we're going to take our show or our team, our company to another level, then we really got to find those key components for our team. And that's not to say that they all have to be here. What kind of budget are we looking for when we do decide, okay, I need, X, Y, and a Z type of person to be on my team? What kind of budget should I put aside for something like that?
Yeah, so I would say, typically speaking, for a higher level person, you're talking 16 to 18 an hour times 22 times 8. So, 3,000, 3,500 a month. And so, but for now, again, we're looking at the extremely high end, like people who are going to help you grow your business, right? These are not people who are just doing tasks here and there. You could do it yourself. And these are the people we hire. You could do it for, you'll see people talk about, get a VA for $5 an hour. They're just not going to help you. You're going to have a lot of problems. My advice, when you're ready to invest, get the right person, spend a few $1,000s a month, and don't look at it as like, oh my God, I have a year, I'm hiring them for a year. You're hiring them on a month-to-month basis. After 2 months, right? If it's not working, guess what you do? You say it's not working, and that's the end of it, right? So I would budget, let's say, no more than $10,000 to get the right person who's going to help you for a few months. And if after those few months, they're not making a difference in your life or your business, cut the ripcord.
I like that. I mean, let's face it though. It doesn't matter whether you're going to use a VA or you're going to hire in-house here, a person here in the US. Yeah. It's still going to take a capital investment no matter what,
if
right?
You're good at something, never do it for free.
Exactly, right. So if you're gonna get into the hiring process, then it is a capital investment. The only difference is where you're gonna pay it and how much you're gonna pay. For the same amount that you'd pay for somebody here in the U.S., you're probably getting 1 or 2 people that you can get outsourced overseas.
three
or 3 people even.
The leverage is incredible. But here's the thing, right? Again, what is your time worth? Right? So look, if you're spending all your time on tasks that you can outsource, just 15, 16 an hour, why? Right? If the difference between, each dollar an hour is $180 a month, right? So the difference between 5 and 15 is $1,800. If you can't spend, an additional $1,800 on your business to help it grow, there's something wrong with your business. Right? If a person cannot help you, if you can't get out of the day-to-day, right? And they help you get out of the day-to-day, right? And then you're not growing because of that, because you're actually doing sales or doing marketing, whatever, then there's a problem. You have to look inward, and there's a problem with your business, right? Maybe it's the wrong market. Maybe you're not the right person. Maybe there's a process broken. Right? Maybe it's an idea of one person. Like, I have the best product, but you can't sell it. Right? So, you got to think of people. They free you up to grow your business. There is no successful entrepreneur, not one, who's a solo person. Even the solopreneur, they still have a bookkeeper. right? They still have
Mhm.
someone who's helping them in some capacity, right? You have to have a team to be successful.
All right, you've been doing this for quite some time, and you've built something that is very, very useful. But you didn't get your motivation from just your wife, right? There are other people who have been influential to you, mentors, books, podcasts, that sort of stuff. What kind of stuff do you listen to, or what kind of stuff did you learn from to help motivate you to get to where you are today?
So I think one of the greatest books, and honestly, it's just the title says it all, is What Got You Here Won't Get You There by Marshall Goldsmith. I highly recommend everyone read it. And here's the premise, right? It's really more about corporate America, but it's in general. The skills that got you to today, to be successful today, are not the skills that are going to take you to the next level. Right. And it's a really wise premise because when you think about it, right, up until the point I created this virtual assistant agency, right, it's great. But I was in e-commerce. Now I'm in the staffing business. I have to evolve and I have to learn another set of skills, right, that I never acquired, such as how to be a podcast guest. Right. Like I never did that. I have to work on this. I have to get better at it. So, I love this book. I highly recommend it. Mentors, I've had a bunch. One of my mentors is actually a friend of mine who I won't show this podcast because I don't want to get his ego up. He has a big ego. And so, but he's a friend of mine and he's been an entrepreneur for 20 years. Right. And he really he's been a roller coaster. He was riding high in the mortgage industry, but when it blew up and the whole industry disappeared and he had to reinvent himself. And he's done it a couple times. And I think as a successful entrepreneur, you have to do that. And so he's really taught me a lot about, the roller coaster. It's not all sunshines and daisies. It's hard work, right? And there's a lot of bad times to get to the good. And as I read recently, you need to pay tuition, right? There's one Mark Zuckerberg, one. Right? There's one Mark Benioff. Guess what? We're not them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. There's a plenty of range of success from where we all are to them. And, you just have to recognize that and pay your tuition and learn.
So you mentioned you've been on a couple new podcasts. You've been kind of touring, if you'd say, right, onto different shows. What's your experience been like as you go from show to show, and then for you as a guest, and then what do you think of the production and the experience on the Business Bros?
Well, actually, I love your energy. I think it's really heads and tails above many others. So that's really fun. I love the visual format that you do. So for me, right, how you play back and forth with YouTube, throw in some video from the Joker or Batman or some of these other things, I think is really fun. As an entrepreneur, it's great that it's easy for someone to say, hey, where's the website, how to contact me. I like it. I also think your email series is fantastic. How to connect with people. It's really like it hits you and it's engaging. I mean, I highly recommend people, sign up for your email list personally. I mean, I think it's very useful.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So what is next in store? I mean, you went from e-commerce, which is dealing with people in one way, right? I mean, this is still serving the needs of people, to dealing with actual people, to hiring them and providing for your family. Now, me personally, when you're dealing with, when you start going into the people space, hiring them, it really puts a weight on your shoulders because it's not just the person. Now it's the person and their families and their livelihoods, so that's a huge weight to have on your shoulders. How do you feel about where your company's going and what's coming up next?
Yeah, I think that's very well said. I take it so one of the problems in my industry is how virtual assistants are treated. And it drives me nuts. And I think it's absolutely terrible, but it's a real systemic thing. And that's why we give benefits, we give healthcare, dental, provide for the families, we do make sure they get vacation, right? So I'm very passionate about helping my team. Believe it or not, virtual assistants do not get paid vacation until us. That's it. We're the only company that does it. I do it in my own business. I don't know anyone that does this. And so I'm really passionate about continuing to help my team and my clients, but we're talking about my team grow and just better their lives. Where's this going? My stated public goal is I want to grow this to 100-person business by September, which will be 1 year, 4 months, 4 months since I founded it. And then I want to get to 1,000 people in the next couple of years. right? And it's going to be a relentless focus on creating a better work environment for our team, helping our clients be more successful. That's it. Just relentless focus on that. And any capital I can allocate to those two things, for me, is capital well spent. And ultimately, look, I'm in the business to make money. It makes me more money.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can help you do that. I want to make sure that our guests, our audience understand how to get a hold of you if they want to get a VA, if they want to start finding those partners to help them free up their time. So make sure for our listening audience, you let them know how they can get a hold of you.
Sure. So two ways. You can go on the LinkedIn, contact me on LinkedIn right here. You can go to the website, or you can go to extendyourteam.com/freedom, and it will take you to an assessment, an outsourcing assessment. And then at the end of that, you can book a call, right? Even if you have questions, you're not sure, frankly, even if you don't know if it's right for you or we're right for you, maybe you can't afford a full-time person. That's okay. Book a call with me. I want to help you. I want to help you avoid any of the BS that you're going to go through. And for me, that's very rewarding. So please reach out. We'd love to talk to you.
Boom. And you better believe we're going to be doing that here soon too. Cause I'm telling you, I'm in the position, the questions that I was asking you today, I mean, they're legit questions. Those are the questions that I have, you know what I mean? And I'm sure if I have them, there are other people who are in a similar situation ready to do the same. So thank you, Matt, very much for coming on the show today. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, this was great. I love it. I love the back and forth, right? I think it's, hopefully people got value, but I just like the interaction between you has been fantastic.
We had that hairless connection, dude. What can I say?
Same barber.
It's life, man. It's in the genes. What can we say?
That's it.
Right? All right, ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today. It is SHIT. So happy it's Thursday. Make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe, give us a holler on all our social media at Business Bros Pod. And if you want to be a guest, make sure you go to businessbros.biz/guest. Remember, we have an 8-week waiting list, but we got some premium options now for you guys, so you guys can go there and jump the line, or you can hop on the last minute guest list, businessbros.biz/last minute. And if we have any last minute openings, we'll shoot you an email and get you on the show. That's it, ladies and gents. We'll see you guys mañana. Talk to you soon. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation. Or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.